Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Invin. Today I am bringing you guys my top 5 tips for League play in Season 3 of Cold War. Now these tips will apply to the previous seasons and future seasons, all that good stuff. So basically these are going to be universal tips, but I just wanted to do an updated list with all of my most relevant tips for the new season. Now a lot of you will see that I did a class video a couple of days ago for League play classes, which gives you guys the best classes that you can use in Season 3 of Cold War's League play with the updated guns, so things like the changes to the Krig and the LC-10, and so these guns have obviously been included in that setup, so I'll leave that video on the end screen, so if you do want to go ahead and watch that video after you've watched this one, then that will be linked there for you. Before we do jump into today's video, if you are new to the channel, make sure you go down below and click that subscribe button with notification bells on, that way you'll make sure you don't miss out on any uploads that go up on the channel, and if you do go on to enjoy today's video, make sure you do drop a like rating as well, as that is much appreciated. So what we're going to be talking about today is my top 5 tips for League play, and the first tip is to hold your composure. This was one of the tips that I gave yesterday in the video to get better at Cold War in general, and it is one of the biggest and most important tips that you can get given on COD in general, but specifically in Cold War. With there being so much SBMM, and particularly in League play where it's all rank-based gaming, you really want to make sure that you keep your composure even when you're not playing well. This means if you go on a death streak, you're losing on points, you're losing on rounds on S&D, whatever the case may be, or even indeed when you are doing well, don't let your ego take over. You've got to maintain the same composure throughout all of your games, as what this will let you do is increase your consistent gameplay, which is how you're going to get better overall. You might have really good games, you might have really bad games, but it's the games in the middle where you want to be consistently getting better, getting a higher score, getting a higher KD, winning those games, and generally performing better each and every time. And that's how you're going to get ranked up quicker, obviously mainly based off SPM, KD, and win-loss. So the better you're doing on those factors consistently, the faster you're going to get ranked up. So that is what you want to work on. Keep your mindset in the game. Keep trying your best during the game. Try and work out the strategies that the enemies are using and counteract them. All that good stuff. And that is going to be the best thing. My second tip is obviously to use the best classes. And like I said, the video from a couple of days ago here on the channel is actually on those classes. So go ahead and check it out if you want to know what the best classes are. But to use a gun and the attachments that are competitive is very important. Particularly in Cold War, more so than it has been in other games. So you definitely want to make sure that you're taking advantage of that, particularly when you've got all the attachments unlocked, and also perks. Make sure you're running the right perks for the class. Make sure you know how the perk system works, and I also have a video on that on the channel, so go ahead and look for that one if you do want to see that content as well. But making sure that your loadout, your entire class setup is correct is going to be really pivotal. Now, the third thing is going to be listening and giving calls. So making sure that you're listening to what your team's giving out, looking for pings, really having that awareness of where the enemies are, where your team are, and where the enemies should be as a result of that, listening to where the enemies have been called out and taking note of whether that position has been taken care of. So if they call, for example, on checkmate, the one is on the right wing holding the spawn, if you know that that hasn't been killed yet, or nobody's called out that that player has been killed yet, be aware that you might die from mid plane, or indeed the right plane wing itself. That player is going to be around the area lurking, and you're going to want to make sure that you're aware of that. And also, really importantly, give the calls when possible. Okay, not all the time you might be able to use your mic. It could be super late at night, or you could maybe just not have it working for the time. It happens, but where possible, use your mic and give the calls. Try and work out, even if you don't know what they all are, work out a few. Again, on the channel, if you scroll back a couple of pages of videos, I have got a ton of videos covering every single call on each of the League play maps. So go ahead and have a look at those if you do need to learn the call outs. And this is really going to increase your gameplay, because it's going to mean you might die to somebody, but then if your teammate can instantly get the trade, or get the trade a couple of seconds later, you're then not going to get killed by the same enemy in a good position, and they're not going to be able to get streaks going, which is what's going to get their score and momentum and score streaks, and that's what you want to avoid in the game. Now, the fourth tip I would give you guys is to make sure that you are always playing to the advantage of your weapon. Don't be using an SMG for super long range engagements. Okay, the LC-10 and the AKU are actually pretty nuts, so you can get most kills on the map with them, but play to the advantages. Get on the hard point, get on the objective point, or get to those close range angles, and if you're using that AR or the sniper, play a bit further back. But again, if you're using the XM4 or the QBZ, these are pretty good up close, so you can maybe get involved with a hybrid type role, all sorts of different stuff. Again, the roles, callouts, videos on the channel, you know the drill by now, but just make sure that you're playing to the advantage of that weapon and your role to make sure that you know exactly what you are doing. Fifth and finally is going to be communication as a team, and this does lead to callouts, but also to things like playing each of the roles. If you can see that your team wants to switch up the roles, or has just done that sometimes, like random players do often, just make sure that you're picking up that role. So if there's no one running an SMG, run an SMG. If there's no one running an AR, run an AR. Now this might not be the best or optimum way for you to play, but getting better at each of the different roles is vastly going to help you improve at the game, and also it's going to get you ranked up quicker because those guys are going to be rushing in. At least if you've then got that AR, even if you're an SMG player, you might be able to then pick off those kills where you'll see where the enemies have actually got the kills on your team, and it's going to be a lot easier for you to pick those ones up. Now hopefully these quick fire tips and tricks have helped you guys out and give you something to think about whilst you're playing League Play. If they have, make sure you leave a like on this video, and if you are new to the channel, like I said at the beginning, make sure you drop a subscribe. Other than that, thank you very much for watching, take care, and peace.